Yeah.
Guess who's back? Back again. What's up?
Good night, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to Lie to Yourself.
I have a brown one.
Y'all, Crystal was out here giving off a show. Lord,
luckily I caught it.
That's what you've known for so long. And for me, like a person like me who's been in a relationship for such a long time, even though I didn't realize how toxic it was until the end. So y'all are gonna think I'm super weird, okay? Fun fact, Lady J is real weird about her food, okay? But my whole entire life, I was like, white sauce does not belong on spaghetti, and chicken definitely don't belong in no spaghetti. No, I grew up, for real, listen, I'm just text real quick, and I'm gonna just, hey, how you been? How's work?
I love food. I won't call myself a foodie, but Lady J, I am like an experienced girl, right?
Okay.
The plating matters to me, right? If I go somewhere,
good night, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you again for joining me on this lovely Friday evening with Lie to Yourself, not me. Real Talk with Miss Lady J. Thank y'all for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host, Miss Crystle D. Hello, lady. How are you?
Plating matters, and I'll take the chicken with the pasta all day.
You go ahead. I did it that one time, and I won't turn it down, but also at the same time, I'm kind of not all the way on with it yet. So, hey Bernard, how are you? So Miss Lady, how was your week? Hey Bernard.
It was a good week, y'all.
MVP.
Life is good for me. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm learning a new skill. I'm learning how to code. I've already shared this with you guys before.
Okay.
But I'm learning coding on a job training on a new project. I'm learning coding and web design, and I just hit like a real great place in my process. And I just feel I feel like an expert. So it was a good week there because I love when I'm doing great in my craft. I'm over here web designing, y'all, and just writing and mixing and moving. And I'm in a position in my 9-to-5 work life, because some of us live two lives. I got a 9-to-5 work life, and then I have it on a side Crystle D work life.
Okay.
But in my 9-to-5 work life, I'm currently in a position where I'm wanted by two different areas in my company, and they fighting for me, y'all. They fighting for me. They fighting for the kid. So it was a good week.
Asset.
I'm a high value asset, if you will.
If
I may. I'm a woman who invests in stocks and crypto, and I'm a woman who code. I need to create a club. Okay?
That's awesome.
Chicks who code. Anyway, so I had a great week, Lady J. Thanks for asking. What about you? How was your week?
My week was kind of crazy, all over the place, I think. I've had some highs, I've had some lows. It's been like one of those weeks where it's just kind of it's up and down. My favorite place to be, TikTok, though. TikTok wise, Lady J is off the charts. Lady J has gotten a viral video, y'all, on TikTok. And so, yeah, as far as views go, at least, I did have one, which that was even kind of wonky because people are so.
Bring it around. I got on a bra today, so we can bring it around.
Bringing it around. Hi. Hello, Black Hulk. What's up, Ralph? People are so weird and sensitive about everything. And so the particular video that went viral, there was a sound to it that I reacted to. And they had posted in the comments that the sound, I guess, had something to do with African Americans, Black folks being pushed into oil, this, that, and the other. And so my comment to it was, thank goodness that's what he's not referring to. Because y'all know me, I'm just kind of across the board. It's a sound. I don't know where it came from. That sucks that if that's where it came from, it was. But but people are extremely sensitive about everything in this day and age. And so it was just kind of hard. So I was like, ugh, I had to like do a post where I was like, listen, please, y'all, let me be. Let me be. Just let me live. I don't bash nobody on TikTok. Let me be. So yeah, that's where it was. But so the week it was okay other than that. But my most awesome great thing I guess was that TikTok likes me again, and so they have like they pushed me. They pushed me on the FYP, y'all. They pushed me on the FYP, which is great because then that means that more people come hopefully to see what we have going on here.
So while we talking about it, what's your TikTok, Lady J? Is it up here? Because we need to.
I was just getting ready to say.
Go ahead.
I was getting ready to ask you, but we'll go with me first this afternoon. So y'all know where I live. I live on I live in TikTok land. So y'all can find me at on TikTok as Lady J 1111. Then I have 2 business pages because I'm a baker. So you can find me on Instagram at J's _ J's _ Decadent _ Delights. With my Facebook, you can find me under J's Decadent Delights. I also have a YouTube, which is Lady J. And then I also have a Twitch because Mike has convinced me to do that, which is Lady J _ 1111. Now, Crystle, how can we find you?
Girl, I had to press mute. I'm over here belching and stuff. Ooh, Lord. So I am Crystle D, Crystle Dominique. My Thoughts Could Be a Blog on Instagram. I have a website, mythoughtscouldbeablog.com. Stay tuned for more because now your girl is coding. I'm about to code all types of stuff on this site, y'all. Y'all ain't ready for it. I'll give y'all an update for the relaunch for the blog. But check it out, subscribe, and that way I don't have to remind you when the updates come. And then I'm also on Twitter. I am Crystle D. I'm on TikTok. And I do want to share. My Thoughts Could Be a Blog, everything, if you will. That's TikTok as well. I know Twitter is a little bit different. I am Crystle D because I am Crystle D. But let me talk about this right quick. This TikTok viral situation that you had.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
on TikTok. My Thoughts Could Be a Blog. I'm loving it, engaging. I'm new to this area, right? But I'm really having a good time. And my cat's in heat. So I posted a video because I thought it was like really, really great for the cat community and the animal lovers to like see this video because she's in heat and I don't really believe in I'm struggling with this idea of fixing her because I just feel like it's animal cruelty. And I recorded her and I shared the video like, wow, y'all, she's in heat. And these people were like all nasty to me on my TikTok because my cat was in heat. And they was talking all this. This one girl cursed at me. She was like, girl, just go get that damn cat fixed. And I was like offended. I was offended because I even said, I shared, like, I'm funny. If I have certain views that, and if I can be honest, it's not like I've decided that I'm not going to get her fixed. Because she was like rubbing on we have to share this one day, y'all. She was like doing a whole lot to my carpet. My carpet was disrespected. And I thought it was actually kind of funny a little bit, but whatever. Because listen, her mama was in heat that week too. I wasn't getting none. She wasn't getting none. Why are we so offended by the cat being horny? So a couple people had some real strong views on me sharing that I'm working through my issues with getting her fixed. I don't know if I'm not going to get her fixed, right? I'm not saying I'm not. It's just something that I'm struggling with, right?
Okay.
And they were nasty. And I took the video down because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, y'all.
You have to get ready. In all honesty, people are so sensitive online about everything. Like everything. Like everything.
Mike, I'm gonna send you this video. Mike, you gotta
like literally people are offended by everything under. Hi, Tonio. How are you? Oh, Tonio's on my Twitch. Oh, Tonio, what you say? People are offended by everything under the sun. Like it doesn't even have to be anything serious. Which
let me tell you, I took it down and I made my page private after that. And I'm not saying it's going to stay private because I don't like how my views have changed because I'm trying to grow my TikTok.
Yeah, you have to leave it open.
But I had a moment, and I know that we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today that might be relevant to this, but I feel you. I had a moment where, and I'm not going to go too far off, but there was a news brief that came on Daily Talk Live last week because Cardi B the night of one of those big nights, I think it was the Met Gala, she had an after party and she was saying like to all y'all out there who's drinking and y'all out there, and she kind of notioned like a nose sniff to imply to y'all that's doing other stuff. And it was like a funny joke she said on the mic, and it was recorded and it went viral. And apparently she went to her comments because she received a lot of negative feedback about making that joke in what she was assuming was a private setting, right? And it created a conversation because she went to her live to say, I'm sick of being famous. I'm sick that y'all rip all this stuff apart. I will be very honest. When I saw that, my response was, but when you sign up for that, I'm sorry. You're not sick of the money. You're not sick of the fame. You're not sick of the glam. So to be honest, I think we need to just accept that. But when I had that moment, that small moment on my, like, I'm not even famous, y'all. I had that very small moment of like, why are you talking to me like this? Because I don't believe in fixing my cat. I changed my view a little bit. Like, calm down. You feel me? So I went private for a moment. I took the video down, and I'm gonna open it up again. But I had a moment.
I understand that, and I've talked to people. I've actually had this conversation with people before, especially when it came to hey, gaming bro, when it came to the whole like Will and Jada conversation, you know, and should he have done that, this, that, and the other. And my point, one of my points with it, was that when you open yourself up to the public eye like that, like, and I said the same thing. I said, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not like, you know, Will and Jada. I'm not that big. You know, I'm on TikTok and I have a very large following on TikTok, not as large as everyone else, but I have like 15,000 followers right now. So I've opened myself up to 15,000 people for them to give me their comments, their views, and not even just those 15, because when you hit the FYP, when you hit that For You page, more than just your following sees you. So I've opened myself up. When I sit on live and people can see me as they just scroll, I've opened myself up to be a target. And I've been targeted. I'd have been called all kinds of stuff. I'd have been objectified. I'd have been all kinds of everything. And when you open yourself up to that space, you kind of have to have tough skin so that you can understand that this is kind of what it is. You got to kind of like be ready for the crazy. And it's funny because people come in my room and they say, like, you ask Tonio, you ask Ralph, you ask Bernard, you ask them. People say crazy stuff to me when I'm sitting on live. And they be ready. Those are my moderators. They be ready. Be ready to like bust people out the room. And I'm like, wait, hold on, pause, give it a second. Because people come in and they say some really disrespectful stuff. So
I can't handle it. I'm sensitive, y'all.
Girl, I done got to a space I laugh at it. I make jokes about it. They be mad at me. They throw me more stuff. They throw me like they talk. I had somebody call me a grandma. Somebody was like, you got a big forehead. I was like, you know what I do? It's a lot of space.
So do I.
It's a lot of space on here. You right.
You see
you right. So you have to have like really, really tough skin when it comes to it. It is what it is. So girl, get ready. Just get ready for what's to come. But we have a guest with us tonight. And also before we go into bringing our guest on, and before we go into everything, want to lay down some house rules. Tonight we are talking about something, one of the topics is kind of a sensitive topic. And so I want to make sure that everyone understands we are not here to be disrespectful. We're not here to be mean. We're not here to bash. We're just to have a good time and just have good conversation. So with that being said, now that we laid that out, we just here to have a good time. I want to bring in, I consider him to be a good friend of mine. I go to him a lot of times when I need kind of like somebody to bounce some things off of and some clarity, because I'll be in my own kind of crazy world sometimes. I would like to bring in my friend, Relationship Gumbo, Mr. Derek. Can you come on in the room? Hello, sir. How are you this evening?
Hey, y'all. I get both of y'all now. I'm ready.
Oh, Lord.
Welcome to the party.
You? And how was your week, sir?
I'm good. Week's been good. No complaints. just taking it day by day as usual. So, same old, same old. I don't have an elaborate thing. I work from home. I get it in, rinse and repeat.
Yes. I love it.
All right. Well, since you didn't have like this crazy and like weird week or anything like that, how can we find you, sir? How can we find you?
You can find me by going to my website, www.relationshipgumbo.info. I am a certified life and relationship coach, but I also have a podcast that airs every Wednesday live, Wednesday at 8 p.m. You also can find me on Instagram, relationship_gumbo. That's probably the best place to start because you can click the link in the bio and I have like the whole kind of like link tree type of thing. So you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go faster. And I also do pop-ups on there every now and then when I have time. And those are usually not as scripted as the podcast. So they kind of, talk about stuff with a looser tongue, if you will. so yeah, we have fun and we learn, we heal, and we just talk about stuff, all things relationship.
We got a live relationship expert in the building. Oh my God, I need you to therapy me tonight. Lord knows.
I promise you he will. I promise you he will.
Ooh.
I promise you he will.
I love this that Ralph is shouting us out in the comments. Ralph said we cannot be sensitive. Y'all are beautiful, smart, articulate, and entertaining. I appreciate that, Ralph. I like that. Thank you.
Facts. So let's get into it. Tonight, we have a couple of topics. Our first topic, though, y'all. Our first topic is Kevin Samuels. Rest in heaven, rest in peace, rest his soul. I don't know what you call it. I don't know. I always get real weird and wonky when it comes to people's passing. Like, I don't really know what to say. Like, I'm like my condolences. I'm sorry. I never really know what to say. So to anyone who is watching, this is not a bash session. This is not a session where we're going to like go in and be like, oh, everybody hated Kevin Samuels. This is just having we actually planned to have this conversation way prior to I'm dead. We had plans to have this conversation way prior to. It's just that this is when we were able to do it. And so tonight we are talking about Kevin Samuels. And really, it's just kind of like open views of things. Now, fun fact, Lady J didn't know a whole lot about Kevin Samuels, okay? I didn't find nothing out about Kevin Samuels until a couple months ago. I didn't know about him until a couple months ago. Somebody brought it up where? On TikTok in one of my lives. And we were having conversation about it. And I was like, listen, so I can't really answer some of y'all stuff because I don't know anything about him. So I answered to what I could as far as what I was given, as far as him being a person and how he did things. And then I answered as far as, because what they talked about was the women that called in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let y'all lead tonight and then I'll go from there because I've done some research a little bit this week. I have watched some videos. I have what views I have and I have, whatever thoughts I have on it, but I'm going to let y'all take it because I know that the two of you have a little bit more knowledge on Kevin Samuels. So I'm going to sit and I'm going to listen to y'all and then I'm going to give y'all whatever I have after that. So being that you are the guest tonight, Derek, would you like to go first or would you like to let the lady go first?
I want her to go first.
No,
all right.
No, please. No, I don't do that.
The guest
you the co-host.
The guest is asking, so we
tell me what your thoughts are, and then I'll piggyback off of you.
All right, I'll try to save some for more dialogue because otherwise I'll go in. Okay, like I'll go in, and we are not going to go in right now. If I'm to summarize this and really kick this off, I believe that the issue with Kevin Samuels' rhetoric, and I think it's very important because, let me say this, I think it's very unfair the way the narrative is being created as if people have a problem with Kevin Samuels and people are celebrating his death. I want to make this very clear. I've watched and listened to some things that people have said about his rhetoric and about the influence he's had in mass media and social media. And I think this narrative is just being dropped repeatedly. And now it's becoming a narrative that it's a celebratory thing that's happening around his death. And I actually want to stand firm that I think that narrative is being created because some folks don't want to hold accountability for the influence that has been created that's super negative and oppressive to women, men, people. whoever fits that category. So I just want to make that clear. Like, no one's celebrating him or his death. But his influence in social media, I find to be very toxic. I find to be something reminiscent of like a misogynistic approach to how you deal with women. I hear the comments like, well, he talked to women how he talked to men. Well, there's a problem with that. I'm not in the boys club. You should not be talking to me how you talk to your homies, because it is a different conversation. And I think the moment that our men realize that if you're not hurt by this, it does not mean that there's not a group of women within your culture in particular who are hurt by the messaging. And I think that right there is most important, because as a Black woman, I'm going to say Black woman because the statistics show that his audience is within the Black culture, mostly within Black people. So that's why I'm saying that. As a Black woman, when my men tell me they have a problem with something, I'm all arms, like I'm ready to go. What's the problem? What are we talking about? How are we solving it? How can I support you? And I find that in this conversation, I feel like I want to cry sometimes, that I've become an enemy because I'm sharing with my Black men that this hurts me. This dialogue is oppressive. It's sexist. It's misogynistic. And all you want to tell me is about the jewels and gems he's dropping that I need to shut up and listen to. I struggle with that. And that's how I feel.
I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so disclaimer. I am not a Samuelite.
Oh, I was ready to call you one.
I'm not. No. We're not doing that. But
I'm playing.
This is what I am going to do tonight. I'm not a Samuelite, and I know you probably thought, oh, he's going to be one of these Kevin Samuel dudes, and we're going to do this. No, we're not doing that tonight. But what I am going to do is I'm going to use a lot of logic. I am going to play devil's advocate in some cases. I'm going to tell you my opinion in some cases, because I think that even though what you said may be true, I think that there are some things to be learned from the whole phenomena of Kevin Samuels and the why people gravitate to him, men and women, the reasons why they look to someone like him for help and whatever their situations are, and the effect that he has on what we would think would be reasonably competent people, how they are so driven to something like this. So that's what I'm going to speak to. I've watched tons of his content, not for him, the person. I'm a student of human behavior, so I want to see why the people are coming in and what they're saying. That's why I watch so much of him, so I'm able to gain like some of who he is. I'm not one of these people sending him money or nothing like that, but I'm always, as a relationship coach, I'm always wondering about the pains of people, the pains of women, the pains of men, and what would make these people gravitate towards something like this, right? So I'm not here to bash him. I just want to talk about the nuances around the phenomena, if you will. Hope that makes sense. I think we'll talk about the men first. The men who follow him will say he's talked about men first and nobody listened. And now he's talking about women, and now he kind of blew up or whatever, right? And here's the thing. Here's a couple of points I want to make. Don't really care if anybody likes it or doesn't, but this is how I feel based on my quote unquote analysis of this. I think there is a population of men who, okay, let me back up. We're gonna go bigger and then work our way down. And I promise you it won't take long. I think that society as a whole, men, women, we can even narrow it down to Black men and Black women. I think we're at a point in history where there's kind of there's a shift. And along with that shift comes somewhat of a correction. And some people don't like the correction, and some people will mold to the correction, and some people will just fight it at all costs. And so what I mean by that is we have traditional, methods of dating, relationship, marriage, where the man is the breadwinner, the woman stays at home, blah, blah, blah. We now live in a society where women are making money, and a man who has money can't really tout, I have the money and you don't, so you're going to have to be the housewife. The woman now says, I have money too. What else about you is going to make this work? Because we both are bringing in money together. I love you, but that's not, I can't be a housewife. I work too. When we get home, you're going to have to share some of this because we both work in 40 hours a week. So there becomes a population of men that says, I don't like that. Yo, y'all working that all of this, I can do this by myself stuff. That's not how I was raised. Like, no, don't do that. Do what I say you should do. And then everything will work out beautifully. That's why you're single, right? So now there's men that are kind of in the middle where you're kind of traditional, but you realize that things are changing and you're like, you know what? I got you, babe. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to try to make it work. Then you have men on the other end. There's also men that are like, I'm all in. We're not going to be traditional or whatever. We just going to create our own thing and make it work. So the people that are on the far side of it that are saying, I ain't with none of this. This can't happen. Matter of fact, I'm so mad that I'm going to make you women, you guys are the problem. Y'all shouldn't change. Come back this way. And this is now birthed the red pill, the manosphere, the Tommy Sotomayor's, the Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels represents leadership for people who don't have anything to follow. Representative of a father figure where there aren't fathers present. So now if you need somebody to shake you and get you straight, he'd allow this dog barking. So now you say, as a man, these women aren't doing what I think they should do. He's telling them what I'm feeling because it's not working the way I want it to. I'm not going to conform to this new stuff. Yes, Mr. Samuels, give me more. And therein lies the birth of a Samuelite, which means Kevin Samuels cannot ever be wrong, because even if he's 50% right, he's doing more than I believe that most men are doing in order to kind of even the playing field, because they feel like it's uneven now, right? And so you have women that are beat down and tired of dealing with whatever they've been dealing with, and they just want to answer. Why am I single? I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. You have this man, father figure, that says, hey, lady, the reason why you're single is this, and this. And you will continue to be single if you don't follow these guidelines. So a person who doesn't have answers and they've been looking for answers for a decade, maybe he might be right. I don't know. It may be some validity to this. And it turns into this thing that takes in a life of its own. Now, if you believe what Kevin Samuels is saying as gospel, if you will, you also have to admit that there's a big portion of his platform that was performative, just like reality TV, just like hip hop music, just like a lot of things, because it sells. Negativity sells. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna stop right here because I don't want to take over. I want y'all to talk, but yeah. So I'm gonna stop right there. But I got some more stuff to say.
So for me, again, because I didn't know a whole lot about him, when he was first introduced to me, it was introduced based on the idea and the thoughts that he was, talking to men and telling men these certain things, and then he was telling women that, oh, you're too big and you're this and you're that and yada yada yada, and these women were calling in talking about they want this high value person. And I was like, well, first of all, he shouldn't be telling nobody that you're too big, this, and a third. But also, you have these women who are coming in and saying, I won't date a plumber because he's not considered, in my eyes, a high value man. Even though maybe he makes the same amount of money, you have all these things. Where are we placing our value? So that's where I started. And then this week, as I started to talk about what the conversation was this week, I started getting videos from people. And so I saw one in particular where I watched it, and he first started out talking to men. And what I got from it was that Kevin Samuels talked to everybody horribly. He did. He had amazing points. Kevin Samuels had amazing points. Like, the stuff he talked about made sense. It made sense. His delivery was wrong. And so I felt as though it was miscommunication in a sense, and I do agree that there was a lot of entertainment behind it. Because that's what sells. Negativity does sell. Look at how many people watch videos about fights, and those things go viral. Fights and people falling off of stuff and things of that nature. So I feel as though the man had a lot of good points. He was on point about so much stuff. And I feel like if he would have just changed the way that he said things and did things, I feel like he could have really got through to people. I don't know why that man spoke in the manner and the realm that he spoke in. I don't know why he told women that they were too big. I don't know why. I mean, on this particular video that I saw, he literally was like, y'all men are sloppy, you're this, you're that, and the other. I had never seen that part of it, and no one had ever told me anything like that. I had never heard that Kevin Samuels talked to men incorrectly. I just thought it was just women. He was just talking to women crazy, because that's all I ever heard, which I feel like, in a sense, that's kind of what it was, is that I think that people were unable to hear his message because his delivery, as Ralph said, was so off-putting. His delivery was so off-putting that I believe in communication. A lot of times I could say to Derek, I could say to Relationship Gumbo, I could say, you know what, Derek, I really like, I don't like that shirt that you have on. And all you hear me say is, I don't like that shirt you have on. But then I follow it with, well, it's because I think that it fits you a little too loosely. You should probably get a smaller cut. But yet, all you heard me say was, I don't like that shirt you have on. So now you just go in for the kill, because you missed my whole other thing. And so I feel like a lot of people, because, again, I'm not agreeing, I'm not a Samuelite or whatever you want to call it. I just feel like he had a good message, but his delivery was wrong. I feel like he could have done a lot of great things, and I don't know a lot about him. I only saw a little bit. I feel like he could have done a lot of great things if he would have changed his delivery. Had he have done things differently, I've heard some stuff where it sparked to the whole traditional. I felt like a lot of stuff he said was contradictory, though. In a sense, like, I've heard the whole, like, okay, men want traditional women, but yet men are asking for women who, what do you bring into the table? So what do you want me to do? You want me to be like the mom, the spouse, to this, that, and the other, and you want me to bring stuff to the table? Like, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. Ultimately, I feel like I think he had good intention, but I think it did become the whole, as you said, relationship gumbo, like the whole like drama aspect of it. And I saw a video where there was a girl who supposedly knew him. She was in contact with him, and she said that he was like that with all people. He was like that with everybody. The way he was on podcasting or on YouTube was how he was with real people. He was always pushing people. The point was to push people to do better. But he absolutely did turn it into hype, because that's what goes viral. So for me, that's kind of where I live with it. Like, I'm struggling. I don't want to be rude and speak disrespectfully of the man. I just think he talked to everybody crazy. I don't want to say nothing.
We're rude. I don't think we're rude. I don't think we're rude. I think we're talking about, I think the phenomena word is what Gumbo said. The reality of it is his influence. I want to be very careful to say it's his influence, it's his messaging, it's his teachings. And I don't think, and not that you say anything wrong, Lady J, but I think it's very important that we stop being so dismissive of influence and how it works within the communities, within our media, within, you know what I mean? Like the social media world, like the influence is separate from the person. And for me, I think it's so important that we really address that. The narrative is way bigger than the person at this point. And I just wanted to say that because I don't think we're being rude, but sorry, I didn't cut you off.
Oh, no. So, because I wanted to say something else, but I was biting my tongue because I feel like you're not supposed to say stuff like that about folks who are dead. But I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm not trying to talk bad to the man, but I think the man was an asshole to everybody. I don't think he had a preference. I don't think he picked or chose who he was that way with. So that's why I feel like a lot of times there gets this hype about how he talked about women poorly and he was always saying this, that, and the third about women. And I feel like a lot of people are only watching. I feel like, like, I don't think everyone has sat down and seen every single like video from him, right? And so I feel as though a lot of what it is hype. It's hype. So I feel like a lot of times everybody's on the hype of, oh, well, he was talking to women and he was telling them to get your ass off the phone and well, you weigh 290 pounds. And so, what high value man wants you? Why is value based upon what somebody weighs? I don't find value in that. I find value in characteristics. I found value in are you a liar? Are you a cheater? Do we have good conversations? That's value to me. It seems like everything they talked about as far as it was always about money. I'm just not moved by materialistic things. And so that's why I say, like, the man just talked to everybody rudely. He didn't have no pick or preference. And I feel like people aren't looking at that side of it. And I know you're saying that, like, that's dismissive. I'm not saying it's right that he did it. It's wrong. That's why I said the man was all across the board. All across the board, he was wrong. I just feel like people don't push that side of it, that he was just wrong in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's the thing. People just focus on this one bit of it.
Can I share why that's important, though? We're in an epidemic where Black women are the most likely to be educated, college degree graduates, and the least likely to be married. And I don't mean to get really deep at this, but when you're in an epidemic and something systematically that keeps that going, it is relevant to talk about. And I'm a product of that epidemic. I'm 37 years old, no children, never been married, Bachelor of Science in Communications Media, feel very well off in my particular career, looking to get my master's, working on my investments, working on my income. It's not because I woke up one day and I said I'm better than men and I want to do it. It's because of the situations that happened to us that has nothing to do with Kevin Samuels in life, with our men, with our mamas, with our fathers, with our family system that came not from our doing, but came from other doings. That's not the topic of this podcast right now, right? We are in a place where women are a product of where we have come from because of other systematic troubles that has happened within our community that has created us to be where we are, men, women alike. I'm a product of that woman. And as I mentioned, what my situation is, right? Dating proactively, have been in long-term relationships. And what I've experienced in those dating experiences is because I am the woman that focused on career, because that's what my mama taught me to do, because she was a single mother left alone. She was a single mother who my father left her after a certain amount of years of marriage and 2 children for a white woman because of what was trendy, and raised her children and not his own. Again, another thing that is an issue within our community way back when, but whatever the case may be, that's not the topic of this podcast. My mama taught me, because of what she went through, This is what you need to do to protect yourself. And in the meantime, when that man comes your way, this is what you do to take care of that man. My mother taught me how to be domestic, how to care for my man, how to become a good wife. But because of the situation that we're in, I also need you to focus here, Crystle. And I have become that woman dating different men who have always treated me as if I've been problematic because college was important to me. My bank account was important to me. Even though I cook, I clean, I made 3 meals a day, and I feel like being a good lover is super important. So I was about to say some things that I ain't gonna say. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do. What I'm getting at is I feel like there's a lot of women who can relate to me, who have been taught, trained, and it's been understood that I have to know what it takes to hold a man and keep a man, because this is what a good woman is. This is what a good wife is. But I also have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, because on the flip side of things, if he never comes or if he leaves me, I have to be okay, right? I'm a product of that environment. There are lots of women that are product of that environment. The narrative is that we just woke up one day and we just said, forget men. The reason why I brought this up is to say, it's relevant what he's talking about, because if you look at the statistics within our community and what's happening to the Black woman, I know I know your situation is a little bit different than mine, but there are also a lot of situations.
It's not that. It's not that at all. I'm a believer that I understand that we are a product of our environment, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm a believer that we have a choice.
Of what? What do you mean?
I grew up with a mother who didn't teach me how to be a wife. She didn't teach me how to be a mother. She didn't teach me to be compassionate. She didn't teach me to have conversations with my children. She didn't teach me how to keep a man. She didn't teach me any of that. I learned that on my own, and I did it out of choice. Mm-hmm. I learned how to be a homemaker. I learned how to be a good wife. I learned how to be a good mother. My mother was very different. Mm-hmm. I am a believer. I feel like a lot of times we live in this idea that because I'm a product of my environment, I have to become this, that, and the third. I just don't believe that.
I think you mistook that. I think where I was getting at is the reason why this conversation is so relevant from the perspective of the influence that this man has on the men that we're dating is that we're dating these men. Who I am is not really relevant in this conversation. It is who I'm dating out there and how they're receiving me because of who I am in this community. And I personally feel like what has been communicated about women like me and women and my sister women out there, like including yourself, what's being communicated is if you see us and we're this is what that means. And that narrative is damaging to our community. It's damaging to our relationships, and it's creating chaos when really we're just misinterpreting each other all the way.
But would that not kind of fall upon like the people that we choose? I know that I choose people that were not, in hindsight, not people that I should have chosen, right? Because if they're not accepting you as you are, just my opinion.
Right.
If they're not accepting you as you are, then that's probably not a person that you should be with. I mean, that's, again, my personal opinion.
Facts. You're absolutely right. I think when I talk about Kevin Samuels and the issues, and Gumbo, please hop in. But when I talk about Kevin Samuels, right, and what's problematic, it's not because I'm saying, hey, my man is a Samuelite, y'all help me. No, I'm not. You're absolutely right. I am not choosing that man. What I'm talking about is why the influence is toxic within our environment and it's harmful to our community. It has nothing to do with me trying to say that, complain about the man that I chose was a Samuelite. Like, I'm not going to choose those men. I'm going to say this point because when Gumbo was talking, I wrote this down actually. So I'm reading it because I wrote it down and I wanted to be very clear about what I said. Gumbo said something about, these fatherless men, these lack thereof leaders who and I respect that perspective. So I like the way you put that, by the way, Gumbo. You and hopefully you don't mind me calling you Gumbo. I'm sorry. What would you prefer? Okay. All right. It just came off so easily, but it's because I love me some good gumbo, y'all. But so when he talked about men needing a leader, and you have these men who have this perspective, and I get why they clung to that. Oh my God, I totally get that, right? I'm listening, and it gave me some level of understanding. I feel, however, men who clung to that found, however, the confirmation bias that they were looking for to already be that toxic. I'm gonna be very honest. Steve Harvey has some great points. Derek Jackson has some great points. I chose those two for the obvious reasons. They were trendy, they were viral, and I'm sure there are other examples, but the only reason why I chose those two, because we're talking about a viral conversation, right? Two men that created safe spaces for women, regardless of how you feel about who they were. In terms of their dialogue and conversation, women gravitated to them because of the safe space they created within the conversation. Most interesting, wait, real quick, I'm almost done, I promise. Most interesting fact about that is a lot of men repelled those two individuals. My point is not that Steve Harvey or Derek Jackson are good men. My point that I'm making is I think it is alarming how much the population of men repelled those conversations, that were not gravitating to these men, were not attracted to these men conversations. What they are attracted to is an environmental conversation that is so harmful. I'm a woman who's been abused by men. I'm a woman who's been abused physically, emotionally, in every way possible that you can think about. And it wasn't until I was 29, 30 years old that I woke up and decided to heal myself, work on myself, and walk away from it all. And when I see it, I recognize it immediately. And the space that Kevin Samuels has created that these men are gravitating to, I find it super alarming, super upsetting. I recognize it. I know what that space is. I've watched his videos. You know why? Because every man who bring him up to me are like, I bet you ain't even watch. Y'all all say the same thing, right? Not to generalize. Did you even watch? I have sat through hours of his content and my stomach turns. I feel so uncomfortable. I feel unsafe watching him. And I think it's just super alarming that we don't recognize that, and to call out the other two gentlemen who are just as toxic. Well, I don't know. I personally like Steve Harvey, but men are not a fan of them. And I find it interesting that you become a fan of this one who represents such misogyny, such disrespect, and more of a toxic, violent way of going about things. And for me, that's my big issue. I'ma stop because I went in. I'ma stop.
Where to start? I was triggered when you said Derek Jackson and Steve Harvey. So I'm going to tell you. Triggered? I'm going to tell you why what you said about those two happened the way it did, right? And then I'll segue into Kevin Samuels and why they gravitated towards him in more detail. Derek Jackson, Steve Harvey, they pander to women. Neither one of them hold women accountable, so women love them. And I would dare anyone to find one point that Steve Harvey or Derek Jackson has made that was critical of a woman being responsible for anything.
Yo, right? Almost everything that they said played us and told us that, yo, you are the problem. And let me tell you why you're the problem. I find that very interesting that you said that. I read from cover to cover, Act Like a Man, Think Like a Man. And if not the first or second chapter, Steve Harvey breaks down the problem as to why you can't find a good man is you. And let me tell you why. And in response to that, he gave us the game. I'm confused where this accountability is lacking.
Because the accountability, when he says the problem of you, is there any nuance to that?
Explain. What do you mean specifically?
I can tell you that you're the problem without telling you how you're the problem.
He did. He told me the problem. You're giving up the cookie. First of all, all right, no one loves the 90-day rule, right? Everyone is so against it, but we seem to be ignoring that was one of his number one rules that he believes, right? He gave the scenario. Listen, I grew up in an age where you worked at a job for 90 days and you did not get your benefits until the end. I get that scenario. That was his example, his real life example, and putting it in. Chapter 2, he talks about it. Everyone hates this conversation because it went so viral. We all have our different rules and standards, right? But number one thing is you out here just giving up the cookie too soon because he did this, he said this, he did this. Step number 1, learn to hold yourself until he's relevant. To me, that was what my problem was. Tell me how that's not.
What I'm saying is, this is my opinion. That whole book was about how you combat men. Right or wrong. This is what you do. If a man does this, this is how you're going to maneuver. Think like a man.
Why I got the book on my shelf. We about to start reading this, cuz.
That's not Steve Harvey ain't the topic. What I'm telling you is, there's a level of accountability that a lot of, whether you believe it or not, the phenomenon is what the phenomenon. Men don't drive towards platforms that hold women accountable because you're already being held accountable. We don't feel that from Steve Harvey, Derek Jackson. All we saw from Steve Harvey was, if a man does this, you do this. If a man does this, you do this in order for you to make your way around so that you're safe, right? It doesn't say, hey, lady, you've destroyed half of the people that you've been with, and now you're healing, and now this is like, we don't have that discussion. And so when you don't have that discussion, it's safe for women to live there, right? It's cool to say, you know what, you're the problem. And so next time, in order for you not to make that problem, just have a 90-day rule. We never dug in, right? Right. So if you don't have to dig in, I don't have to feel like I don't have to really I don't have to look at therapy. I don't have to look at anything because yeah, okay, I'm the problem. It doesn't sting. Okay, now what do I do if the dude do this? He just gave me the rule book. That's what we saw. So now when you have Kevin Samuels who says, hey, women, we're going to dig deeper. Now I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm not a Samuelite. I don't want nobody to think that. We're going to dig in deep. Why all of y'all want 6-figure men and ain't enough to go around? Y'all all can't have them. And now, when you go out in the world, there's men that are plumbers that are making $70K. And these women are saying, nah, I'm gonna need them to make at least 100. So now you say, okay, well, damn, let me talk to 50. All y'all want 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 men. Y'all can't, the math don't math. It doesn't work for everybody to get that. But guess what? There's a guy that drives a bus for a living that makes $60K and he's a great guy. Well, 6 figures. So now, if I'm Kevin Samuels, right, I'm getting a little pissed off at this narrative. I'm playing devil's advocate, guys. I'm putting a disclaimer out. Getting a little pissed off. So, ma'am, have you ever met a $200,000 guy? No. Do you even know what type of women these guys typically want? Because up there, sometimes they're very superficial because they can get what they want because, unfortunately, men know from when we were teens, if somebody had a Mercedes and I was driving a Honda Accord, the Mercedes guy going to get all the attention. So when guys get up there, they're going to look for trophies a lot of the time. So then he says, are you the type of trophy that they normally see you on their own? No, you're not. Well, I deserve to have it because I have a degree and I have my PhD, and I deserve to have a guy that makes exactly how much I make or more because I've worked hard to get here. And he's like, so if you get him outside of your money, what are you going? Are you domestic? Like how you were saying? Have you been taught to be that? Well, no, I haven't. She just told me to go to school and get mine, and F niggas get money. So now that $200,000 guy is like, okay, you got a PhD, but I need somebody to take care of my kids. I need somebody to cook. I don't want to hire a nanny. I'm gonna make sure you don't have to go to work. Stay home. I got this. I'm making $300K. And so these women who have worked to get their degrees are saying, I've earned my way up into that upper echelon of man. But when you get up there, the women they marry, they're not millionaires. They're not making 500K. You'll see it sometimes, but on average, that doesn't happen. They normally go down because they go down because in as far as monetarily, because the women who don't make as much money don't have an expectation that you're going to meet them there, and they're going to kind of sort of play into what they call that feminine, whatever they call it, because they're happy to have that man. They're happy to have that situation. And they're like, okay, babe, I'm going to wash your clothes. A chick that's making 500K is like, what?
See, what? I think I'm struggling. I'm struggling because
on average,
that's the problem. No. And the reason why I say that's the problem is because I need somebody to pull some stats on this, because I personally feel like we are coming up with those stereotypes based on stereotypes. I don't know if we're really, where are we getting this information that women who are successful also aren't partnering and being domesticated? And I'm personally not going to be in this conversation and support that narrative as truth. Just because it's me. That's not fair to women who are successful, who work hard and are out here being domesticated, and vice versa for men. There are plenty of men out here who are successful and partnering with their wives, where both are financially okay, both are domesticated, sharing the responsibility. And I don't think it's fair that we're creating this narrative as true, as if that doesn't exist.
Wow. Okay, so that's not what I was talking about. That's not what I was talking about. What I'm saying is, you're talking about women who have achieved marriage. They're living in this thing, right? You also have a population of women who say, F that, I need me a dude that's making 500K because I make 400 and he needs to make more than me. That domestic stuff wasn't really taught that. It's not really my thing. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm good. And I want to stay home. I may take care of the kids, we may hire a nanny, whatever, right? These are women who are not successful at relationships, because what they are successful at is making money. So you had the privilege, and a lot of other women who are successful had the privilege to understand that there's a duality that you have to ride as a woman, being a mother, being not necessarily saying you got to clean it. You hire people for that, but there's a certain part of you that tends to be a little more nurturing than a guy. When you turn that off and boss chick is outside, boss chick is in the house, we have a problem. I'm not saying this is most women. I'm saying that there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of them out there, and they're making demands. And so when you say 500K dude, I don't know this. There's no statistics on this. But how many 500K dudes are dating 300-pound women that are 5 foot tall?
Let's see. They might not be broadcast on social media because it's not the
No, I'm talking about marriage, boardrooms, mayor's ball.
We should do a whole other show. We actually go do this research, because to be honest, I'm the type of person where that research is needed, because what we're speaking of, once again, is what we see in mainstream media. We're not talking facts. And I really strongly feel like if we really go ask these people these questions, I'm curious to know what the real answer is, because I'm a firm believer in we're going off of media, entertainment, stereotypes.
But that's all we have, though. All we have, though.
That's the problem. And it doesn't represent reality. It's not reality.
But okay, so here's the thing. That is the reality that everyone sees. That's the part for me that I feel like I don't think people are getting. This is what's being shown. You're being shown Kevin Samuels sitting here talking to women, telling them, you 290 pounds, this is and this. No six-figure man is gonna, no high value man or whatever it is gonna want to deal with you. This is what's being shown. No,
we're not talking about anecdotal, like it's so Jill Scott is married to a millionaire, right?
I'm about to look it up. Because what we're saying, I guess what we're saying is based on this rhetoric, like this, there's some truth. Let me pause and ask: are we implying that the reality is, if this is the case, you're not being realistic and going to find a 6-figure man because you're 300 pounds?
No,
is that what we're saying?
Never
Okay,
said
no,
that.
and I'm not
Never
saying you said that. I wanted
Never
to
said
ask.
that. What I'm saying is, if you're 300 pounds, 4'11", and you have been single for the past 15 years, and you will only date someone that makes 500,000, what about 450? What about 200? There might be a great guy somewhere in there, and you're like 500. Yes, do what you do, but
Right.
you may not win the lottery at 4'11" and
I feel
300
you.
pounds. You may not win.
And I actually don't disagree with that. You're not going to win. You're not going to be on welfare, and your only goal is to meet a 6-figure dude, and it's just going to happen for you. I'm going to give that example too, right? I believe that. I'm still not a Samulite, and you know why? I'm going to call this out. We take that conversation and we make it about this small group of women, right? These small group of women that exist. Where they at? Honest question. Lady J, the small group of women that we are saying we agree with, he's making a good point, right? I am in conversations with men who are dating me, with men who are dating women like me. I'm not that small group. This is where I now come into this conversation like, hold on, this combo's triggering. This combo's a problem, because I never heard of Kevin Samuels until men that I'm dating, men in my financial bracket, men that I'm friends with, family members that are men, are coming to me, having these conversations. And I'm like, but these women you're not dating. So what's the problem? Okay, and I'll leave it at this. Why? I'm actually going to pose a question for the audience and to the world. I do not disagree with anything you just said, Mr. Gumbo. But why are we holding on to these conversations when we're not even dating those women?
Now I'm taking my devil's advocate hat off,
okay.
Right?
All right, let's do it.
That's all that was, right? Those were his talking points. That was his rationale. Here's my rationale. As just a black man out here, whatever. I don't give a damn who you date. Don't give a damn. Everybody got to, whatever happens, right? I don't care. Here's the thing about even me being in the relationship coaching space, life coaching space, whatever, the research that I do, all of that. Here's the thing. It's disingenuous to understand that most of us have some kind of trauma, issues, whatever going on. We don't know who these people are when they call in. We don't know who these people when they call, ask for help. So when you berate them, even though you call it tough love, you don't know if you're causing more harm than good. That's my stance. So if you know that there's a potential for that to be out there, nobody's tone policing him. Like, people have the choice not to log in or call, but we don't know where these people are in their walk, in their healing, whatever. So to err on the side of caution, to not cause more damage to the community that he claims that he's trying to serve. If you feel like it's not going the way you want it to, let him go. But he'll stay and double down, triple down, and make sure that they never get whatever point he was trying to make, because they didn't necessarily agree with him. Now, I think that, to me, the larger conversation is, because I'm always looking at probability, statistics, and things like that. Somebody said in the comments that people don't make that much. I wholeheartedly agree. Most people will never see 6 figures in their life. The majority of people will never see 6 figures. So for whatever population of women to make that the bar, I think it's silly. I think that you can want what you want, but how many decades are you going to wait for the outcome when, because this is what I always tell my coaching clients who tell me this same thing. I make 100, he needs to make at least, even if I made 50, he needs to make at least what I make or more. The whole hypergamy thing, right? He needs to make more than me so I can feel safe that he's going to be able to take care of it. I get it, right? So what I always do is I play the numbers game with them. he can't make less than 100, you ain't gonna say hello to him. What if he makes 95? Well, no, I can't do that because it's not 100. So what if he makes 96? It's not 100. Can't do it.
I don't understand that.
And I'm like,
not that woman.
So what I tell them is, so all the little checklists that you built on what you need from a guy, he's this mythical creature. He got all of them. He makes 95. You still, nope. They do the same thing with height. I need a man that's 6'4". I was like, well, what if he's 6'2" and you're 5'1"? Can't do it. Cool, that's your preference, but the numbers ain't gonna be in your favor because he's gotta like that 6'4" guy. He got to be all the other stuff you want, and he got to like you back. Have fun with that because there's no margin. 6'4" ain't nowhere near average. Maybe you might get him. Keep hope alive. All these women are all saying that, because I exist, I deserve to have whatever I say I want to have. Cool. But then don't come back to a coach like me. Don't call it Kevin Samuels and say, what's wrong? I can't get it. Because then I'm going to say, well, where are you looking? Are you going to basketball games looking for a 6'4" dude? Well, no, I just stay at home and and I'm like, well.
So our producer is not a Samuelite and is anti-Samuelism. And he wants us to really button this up because I know we had a couple other topics. I'm just curious because I want Lady J to say her piece. Can we go around the table right quick and say our closing thoughts on this since Mike is asking us to really make sure we hop on these other topics?
I don't think we're going to have time for the topic. So we might as well finish this out.
Yeah, you pick Kevin Samuels as a topic. That's a whole show.
It's a whole show. It is. It is. I agree. Lady J, what are you thinking? Where's your head at with this? Antonio said, I make 6 figures and I'm still broke. Facts.
That's real life.
Funny. Real life. It's real talk, especially by the time you start paying some taxes.
Go ahead and give your thoughts. I'll go last.
Who, me?
No, Crystle.
I don't know. Like, in Relationship Gumbo, I think I appreciate you and Lady J's empathy for the topic, to have understanding and the perspective and the POV, because we're all just people with a POV, right? And experiences that draw us to conversation and that give us the insight or feeling to even want, to agree or not agree, right? I appreciate that empathy. And I respect it, honestly. I do my own personal research and study on women. I recognize myself and identify myself as a feminist, and I practice the study of feminism, the history of it, where it went wrong, and how we can bring it back for a clear understanding that's a peaceful one. Me personally, that's my current research and study, right? I also study the history of the Black relationship, what happened to us through slavery, post-slavery. There's some deep stuff that has happened to us. And being a woman of media, as I was telling Lady J today, who studied theory in media and I work in media, man, the media plays a huge factor on what is happening within our communities and our environments. And I just speak to the people to say, there is nothing wrong with having a feeling, having an opinion, having an experience that makes you think about something in a certain way. I think the second that people are degraded and berated, as you put it, is a space that we should always feel within the Black community. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say that. We're going through too much. We've been going through too much. In our community, if we are at war, I'm going to put my hands down and just say, all right, how can we not be at war? I just want us to do that and really get away from the material, the physical, and the conversation that you just went through, Gumbo, was great. I just don't know if that 10% of women who believe that way are the ones who are actually getting the BS from half the individuals that are wrapped up in this conversation. Because that 10% ain't gonna do nothing but drop you and then go find the one that want her. And I feel like there's some men out here really butthurt about those women. And then you're generalizing all women based on this small group of women. And we're not able to come together, partner, and create great relationships, unity within our community, so that we can change the outcome of where we are right now. The state of our culture is not in a good space. And it's because of the Black union in our relationships. And I just wish that we can come together, figure it out. And toxic environments, toxic conversations like this, in my personal opinion, are counterproductive. And that's just really how I feel about that. And I just hope for another influence that is more productive, where we don't fight because of it. And it actually helps us and heals us along the way.
Yeah, it's not even a fight. It's a war right now. And it makes me sick to my stomach. I do want to ask you a question. You said the 10% of women. What women are you talking about there?
Well, and I probably shouldn't have used that statistic because I don't know it. But the women who are, I am only going to date. Some of the examples you gave was, I'm only going to date this man, because you even asked, well, what's wrong with 100? What's wrong with 95? I'm going off of my experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going off my experience. I don't have a mama's best friend. I don't know a best friend, a girlfriend, a cousin. I don't know that woman. And it's not just that I'm not that woman. I don't know that woman. Where's she at? However, I know. Hear me out. But hear me out. This is the struggle. I don't know that woman. She's not in my environment. But the Samuelites that are argumentative about that woman are in my environment. That means they're around women that I know. I hear you.
Right.
My focus is the men who are in the environment that are not in the environment of those women are following this narrative. That's my only focus. I know they're there. Honey, baby, but you're not dating her because you're here with me. Do you get what you're here with all the women that I know? We're not. I'm confused. Why do you feel like you need to have this conversation with us, berate us, treat us this way, and we're not those women? That's all I'm saying.
So here's
because
the thing, right? Oh, go ahead.
Because people get into situations where they deal with those issues. So I talked to someone who told me the way that Kevin Samuel started out was that he was a
image consultant.
He was an image consultant. And I was like, what? They were like, he was an image consultant. So that's what image consultants do. They look for these high value men, these specific women. So this shit wasn't for us in the beginning, in my personal opinion. It wasn't for us regular schmegalers that don't make six figures. This was for people who make that amount of money, because I will agree with what Relationship Gumbo said, which was in these mayor's balls and in these events, these people 9.5 times out of 10 are looking for, not saying it's right, not saying it's okay, but they looking for something in particular, because that's what society tells us is in. Okay. Doesn't matter that you had this great personality. They're looking for this trophy person. So I was like, so this wasn't even for us anyways. No, not really. This was for people who made six figures. This was for people who, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that lady that wears that Sunday hat, that knows how to act when she goes. She knows which fork to use, which spoon to use, which knife to use, how she's supposed to be. What is the proper etiquette? She done gone to all those schools. That was who it was for. It was not for us. But what happened was, in my personal opinion, is that we got involved. And now all of a sudden, these men got into this space where it's like, oh, you know what? You're right. Because I saw a whole video where this man said how women don't listen. They started off with Kevin Samuel saying, women don't listen. You can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them this. Nobody can. Women can't win. So he stitched it. And he said, nobody can tell y'all nothing. Men can't tell you. Women can't tell you. You call other women pick-me's, this, that, and the other. Because you dealt with an auntie, your bestie dealt with somebody who was dating somebody who they couldn't tell nothing to, this, that, and the other. So you didn't lump these 4 ladies that you know, these 4 women that you knew. You lumped them into this basket, and then you said, hey, this is all women. Stop generalizing. Stop saying it's all women, because it's not all women. It's not all men. All men aren't dirtbags. All women aren't gold diggers. That's the problem. The problem here with this conversation is that this conversation, this man was not for us. It was not for us.
Lady
It
J,
wasn't for us.
where is my
But the
church
thing
at?
about it is it bubbled out, it went viral, and then once it went viral, all of a sudden, everybody wants to bring up all their issues, all their brokenness, all they lost souls, all these issues that they have within inside themselves. And then we're just going to generalize, and we're going to say that it's all women, it's all men. And I need to have this, and I need to have that. No, it wasn't for us in the first place, in my personal opinion. It was not for us in the first place. It was for people who made that kind of money, because that's what he was paid to do. He was paid to find women for men who made 6 figures. That was his job. Just like at the Grammys or whatever, Chris Rock made a joke. That's his job. He got paid to make a joke, and he got slapped for making a fucking joke. That's his job.
So
that's his job.
Lady J, we need to stitch clip this, because this is great. You're about to go viral with this because you just summed it up. Can I ask with what you just said?
Can you what?
Can I ask this question with what you just said? Because
what are you asking?
This is all I want. I'm not generalizing. I want the men who it's not for to stop talking to me about it.
So here's another thing. Here's the thing. This is what happens though.
Real life.
You want them to stop talking to you about it, right? Here's the thing. The gentleman he's somebody that I follow on TikTok. We follow each other. He was like, exactly, women, you can't this, you can't that. We can't talk to you. We can't say nothing, this, that, and the other. I kindly went into his comments and I said, sir, I don't like generalizations. I said, and that was a generalization. Not all women are that way. I'm a woman who takes accountability, and you can tell me something and I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to men. I'm going to listen to women. I'm going to listen to whoever has something to say if it makes sense. So if you come to my live, you will see that there is a woman who every single day takes accountability, and she is responsible for her actions and the decisions that she has made. 9.5 times out of 10, we are running through the front door with a battering ram, trying to get people to understand what we're saying, when you can't do that. You have a group of people who believe this shit was like a cult. It was like a cult. You have a group of people. So when you're dealing with a group of people who believe a certain way, you can't go in the front door with a battering ram. I got to say, Crystal, you go around the side window. Listen, Gumbo, go climb up the window. I'm going through the back door. Let me tell you what happened after I left this comment on this man's page. A couple of hours, he responded to me. He said, you know what? You're right. He said, generalizing is not okay. I misspoke. And I apologize, because I didn't go head in with the conversation. If you want people to hear what you have to say, you have to find a way to where they're going to hear what you're saying. You can't go in with all these, sometimes not the statistics, not the crazy, and well, I'm just saying this, and this is it. Sometimes you have to take a softer approach, and sometimes you have to say, listen. Let me tell you something. I lead by example, okay? This is how I live.
We gotta take a softer approach to a situation where there is not near one.
Sometimes, you know why?
Well, no.
You want to know why?
We cannot we can't glaze that. So
do you want? Okay, so do you want to rectify this situation? Okay, I have a therapist. You know what she tells me? Is it better to be right or to be in relationship?
Is it better to be right or to be in relationship? Honestly, at this point, I don't even know. And I'm going to be very honest. I'm a woman who takes accountability. I'm a woman in therapy, and I'm a woman who's working on my healing journey, in my process, a process that I'm very proud of. But if I can be very, very honest with that statement, it is aligned with the exact system that continues to allow that message to be proliferated.
So if you keep fighting this battle, You keep fighting this battle. You keep knocking it in the head. Head on. And you're not getting change.
Lady J, women out here aren't fighting the battle. We having conversations like we having right now, just talking about it, and we being berated and attacked for doing it. I sat at a round table dinner with family and had a cousin and a brother, my brother, bring this conversation up 2 years after I've been having conversations just like this. Ain't nobody attacking nobody. I'm just, when I started this conversation,
what you feel is attack you might not feel like it's attack, but you have to understand you have different personalities, you have different people. So just because you come in with a softer approach it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you.
Let me ask a man, did I have a hard approach to this conversation, Gumbo, in the first 2 seconds of this conversation? Because usually it don't get bad until we get to the end. And what I've said is now a problem and you're threatened by it. So I approach Kevin Samuels to everyone the way I approached it at the start of this conversation, especially when there are men who support it. Now you tell me, and I'm going to take and be accountable. When we first started this call, did you feel threatened by my response?
No. Not when we first.
And you know why you might feel a little threatened as it goes is because I can't say that I feel unsafe in the community of my Black people and that be enough. I'm going to be very honest. That is not a time or a place that I'm ever going to understand. I might have to die alone, Lady J. I am never going to understand that it is not enough for me to show up safe, for me to show up vulnerable, for me to be honest with how you just made me feel. And then as the conversation goes, because my safe space or me talking about the needs that I have as a woman and how I feel in this space are not enough, we get to a point now where you're now threatened because now we're all just triggered in it. The problem is just that we cannot have a conversation within our community, within our friendships, within our workspace, within whatever, and people do not have the pure heart of God, I'm gonna be very honest, to just know it's now unsafe. Let me pull back. I don't have to pull back if you have just pulled a knife on me. You should be the one to pull back. If your words are triggering, if the space that you created is triggering, and the next person has told, because that's how I'm going to respond to you. If the person has told you this is an unsafe space and it's not productive and it's unhealing, if anyone feels like it is my responsibility to create that safe space, that's the problem. That's the problem.
I'm not telling you to back down. I'm not telling you to cower and go hide under a rock. I'm simply saying that you can take a different approach. That's all I'm saying.
And so
if you feel like you need to charge in, that's fine. But I'm gonna be honest. Go ahead and charge in if you want to, but I don't think you're going to get very far because you're dealing with a person who has a mindset and they're stuck in their ways. You cannot. That's like arguing with a drunk. You ever tried to argue with the drunk? I have. Have you ever tried to argue with the drunk?
I think we're going left a little bit because of what you're saying, and I'm going to have to pause and take a breather, because what I'm noticing is, and my reaction to this conversation is, I don't think I ever charged in, and I've actually become more triggered in that statement.
I'm not, but I didn't. Did I at any point did I say, Crystle, you charged in? I said, in general, you cannot charge in with a group of people. Relationship Gumbo, did I?
Okay, so here, let's do this. Let me bring it back to where it need to be. Okay. So I'm gonna talk to this, and then I'm gonna say what I want to say, and then y'all can do what y'all gonna do to wrap.
Well, we only have a couple of minutes, so we got to be quick.
Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna get it in. So to this conversation, Lady J was saying, to a certain extent, if you have somebody that's a Samuelite and then you go in with aggression, you may not get to the point of solution. You may not get to the point where that person can hear you, right? So I think we conflated some things on both sides. I think you both were right in what you were saying. Y'all was just in two different houses. I don't know how it got there, but Crystle was saying, I don't have to change how I talk if it's how I feel. Lady J is saying if you want to get your point across to a Samuelite and the aggression doesn't work or your passionate doesn't work, then maybe you need to take another approach. That's all I don't know. I ain't on nobody's side. I'm just here to, do whatever. So
I'm speaking as for the women, all the women. I'm sorry, and I don't know them all, but I'm speaking for the women. That's the problem. We have to change ourselves. And when I don't feel like women are aggressive,
you don't have to change yourself. Just don't be in the same environment as them. But if you want change, right, and you're in a room with somebody and you want to elicit change in that person, you want that from them. You're not saying, you know what, Samuelite, I'm out. Well, then you may have to talk to them a different way in order for them to understand what you're saying. If you want that person to change, if you don't care about that person changing,
I know. I don't think a lot of women care about that person changing. We just are tired of being attacked because we are hurt by things.
So here's the thing,
Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. If these men want to change, it's their responsibility to be accountable to change. It's not my responsibility to change them.
Here's my 32 cents. Today in 2022, everybody's getting attacked. Everybody is getting attacked. Men and women are getting attacked. There's women that are going to say, no, it's the men, and men are saying, no, it's the women, and the women are going just as hard. They may not have a Kevin Samuels, but they going hard out in these streets. None of y'all ain't doing it. We about to go divest because we can't find, there's no black men that's worth dating. Blah, blah. These go on Clubhouse, go on, it's every day, right? So that's why I called it a war. If everybody's doing this, nobody's dating, nobody's getting in relationships, nobody's having kids. If don't nobody want to mess with nobody because everybody's the devil, right? And so it's become a point of pointing fingers where there's no conversation in the middle. To your point, Crystal, you throw a Kevin Samuels in the mix, you're really not going to get to that middle ground because these men that you talked about, and I know we got to go. These men that you talk about that follow him, blah, 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 they don't make the amount of money, so why are they talking and all of this? It speaks to a larger problem. These men in their head, this population of men, because it's not all, obviously, these are men who feel like their voices haven't been heard. Pre-Kevin Samuels, whatever that voice is. Kevin Samuels comes to rise, even if they don't agree with him, they're going to ride that train because at least they feel like something is being said. This is what they say, right? This is not Derek. This is what I hear in these internet streets. We finally have somebody that can say what we want to say because anytime we try to give some kind of correction or some kind of thing to a woman, we get shut down. Now this guy just don't give a damn about the repercussions because he don't care. He's our godfather. When he passed, they was like, my godfather died. That's why I used the scenario of looking for a daddy. It proves my point. Because I'm not going to call no grown man that's not my godfather. That's just, I don't know. Like, they needed that bad. So anyway, I know y'all got to go. So I'm gonna land my plane there, as they say.
So we are unfortunately out of time. We couldn't get to our other topics. Crystal, how can we find you?
My thoughts could be a blog. Hey, I'm gonna be blogging and talking until I die. My goal one day is to write a book. And when it's published, all that I feel and all that I think and all that I've been through would be written and documented. And I do believe it's going to be a time that someone will read it, understand it, feel me, and heal from it. I pray that everybody has the same situation happening in their life, somehow, some way. My thoughts could be a blog.
Relationship Gumbo?
I'm going to say this last comment. At the end of the day, whether you believe in what Kevin Samuels say, whatever you believe, I'm pro community. I'm pro relationship. And there's no path to that without compromise and healthy dialogue between the two factions. I hate even saying that, but these people are out here going at it every day like it's insane, and I'm sick of it. And it's one of the reasons why I even became a coach. I'm a NASA engineer. Like, who the hell? I was like, yo, like, what? We got it. Something ain't right. So I'm gonna land with that. You can find me on IG at relationship_gumbo. Follow me there. Follow me. You get the YouTube links and all of that stuff. Just go to IG. The website is relationshipgumbo.info. But if you go to IG, you can funnel everything from the link in the bio. So that's all I got.
Y'all know where y'all can find me because what lives in my brain? TikTok. Y'all can find me on TikTok as Lady J1111. I have 2 business pages because I'm a baker. The Instagram is _J's_decadent_delights. The regular Facebook page is J's Decadent Delights. Mike has convinced me to do Twitch. So I am Lady J_1111. And then I also have a YouTube. Also remember to follow us on All Things Bird Entertainment. We have things going on all throughout the week. So make sure you guys are checking in with us. We thank you for joining us on this Friday night. I hope that y'all enjoyed and y'all have a good night. Thanks, and see you next week.
We forgot to start with a drink, with a cheers. I don't have my cheers.
Have a good night, y'all.
Good night.